A couple of videos with you guys. One of them is from her page, and she shows her son passed away. She took him to the hospital because I think he had a problem with his leg, and she didn't realize that she signed a paper that gave them permission to experiment on her son. And over time, they removed his testicles, and the kid over time passed away. And he's just not the only one. She says there are many kids. Um, they're all red nations, all Hispanic children that have passed away. And she gives proof and documentation of all the people and all the testing that they do only on the Latino children. So I would suggest you go to her page so that you could be warned. And this is the Children's Hospital, I believe, in California. So be mindful of it. Also, I want to share this with you. Another video of a dream of a Native American that he put in 2024. Now, you know that our lands have been returning to us since 2020. Over 3 million acres of lands and waters. And who is the owners of our lands? The Vatican. During the Jubilee year, they were supposed to return our lands to us. Who runs the Vatican and who runs the monarch? The Rothschilds. Who are the soldiers right here, right now, marching? Israel. Israeli soldiers grabbing our people. Put one and two together. Guys, you need to go back to the Creator so you could be under His protection. It's just like the dream that the young man posted. He posted it in 2024. So please take the time to listen, especially if you're of a nation, Native American, Latino, please pay attention. This has to do with all our lands, all the lands that they've taken from us and colonized us. So that includes the islands as well. So this earthquake that took place in Venezuela, you know they have weather machines, right? Energy machines. And once they went there, who was the first nations to go there? Mexico, who she's a Khazarian Jew, and Israel, right? And then suddenly the children were being taken and sold. Put one and two together, guys.
On TikTok family, I gotta tell you guys about this really crazy dream that I had last night. I just thought I'd share it with you guys. I still can't believe like what I saw in this dream. Kind of scares me at the same time. I'll tell you guys about it. So I end up going on top of this hill. It was like a valley, and there was this hill. There's like a hill there. So I was walking to this hill, and I see these four elderly indigenous men. They're sitting in a circle, and they have rocks around them, and they're sitting in this circle, and they're speaking, and they're dressed like from a long time ago, you know, like buckskin, like buckskin stuff on, like chiefs, but like dressed from a long time ago, like they weren't in this time, you know what I mean? Like, but in this dream, one of the first elders looks at me, and he tells me to come closer into that circle. He tells me, and they're speaking in their own language, but I can understand them. But he tells me to sit down. Needs to tell me some important stuff to tell our indigenous brothers and sisters out there. And I look at him and I'm like, I'm dreaming, right? Am I in a dream? He goes, you're on the other side, he says. But we need to tell you this, he says. It's a warning. We want you to tell all the indigenous people about that, all our people. He goes, we were alive a long time ago before your time, he tells me. And then he starts bringing up like Custer and starts bringing up these different things, right? Like about like that time. Said that they were around that time. But he said he has something really important to tell me. He tells me just to sit there and listen. So I'm listening to him. And he tells me like the four of them that are sitting there, he says that they're there. He goes, we're your ancestors. And we're speaking to you from the other side because we need to tell you something. He says, listen. And he starts speaking. So the first one speaks to me and he tells me that I want you to tell everybody to be ready. He goes, Damunyao, he says. So he says, and I hope this doesn't offend anybody, but what he said was, he says the white man. That's what he says. That's what he says. And he's not just referring to all of you, you know, nothing like that if you're watching this. It's nothing to offend you. You know, it's, for me, I take it as like it's some people, right? That's what I think. But he starts going on about it and he starts talking about these RCMP. And he starts talking about the military. He said that they were going to try to wipe out indigenous people completely. They were going to try to wipe us out completely. So there is no indigenous people at all. And that scared me. It shook me up. He said that they were going to try to take us out first. Because all the stuff that's going on and how we're starting to finally have success in something, he was saying. They don't like that. About taking the land back, they don't like that. He goes, they know about it. He goes, you guys, they're gonna take you out. He goes, I want you to tell people that they're already gonna be starting that. That's what he's telling me in this dream. And then the other elder comes up to me. Has braids, gray braids. Has a feather on his head. And he starts talking to me. And then he said that anybody that has indigenous blood in them, even just a little bit of blood, he told me that if they're Métis, they're still indigenous. He said, they're going to get them too, he said. He goes, they're going to take you here. And he shows me this place. Shows me this, like, you know what a lab looks like? Kind of like a lab. But he shows me this area. And it shows them injecting these Métis with something that just completely, like, you know, like takes them out of the world. They don't exist no more. And I see them doing this to children too. And they hear them talking and they say, we're going to get every last one of them. So there's no indigenous blood, no bloodline. They're going to try to wipe it out. Kind of like how dinosaurs were extinct, that's what they're going to try to do. That's what he was basically telling me. And that third elder, he just told me, be ready. I want you to tell everybody that some of these RCMP will just be coming in houses. He says, our military, he says, they'll be coming out and they'll be taking out indigenous people. They'll be taking you out of your homes. He says, be ready. This is a warning, he says. That time's come. He goes, be ready to fight. That's what he says. And he starts like yelling about it, you know, yelling at me about it. Be ready, you know, like telling me, be ready for it. And that fourth elder, has a pipe in his hand. And a smudge bowl in front of them, and then they're smudging everybody, and he ends up smudging me. And he says he's praying. He's praying that our people's minds wake up. And he said, a lot of our people are lost. He starts mentioning all this stuff, social media, everything. He just starts talking about everything. He says that our own people are fighting each other, he says. That's not where the fight is, he says. And he says, you know, every color in the world, he goes, we're all connected, we're one. But this government, he says, this government is going to wipe try to wipe the native people out first. And the people that are supporting them will be wiped out with them. That's what he was saying. And I was like, that's crazy. Like, is that really going to happen? He goes, it's going to be starting soon. He says it will be happening, and I want you to warn everybody about it. But he goes, everybody united, that whoever unites with the indigenous people, they will be stronger together. He goes, with our people. We will protect the ones that need to be protected, he said. He goes, if it's necessary, we'll protect the ones that need to be protected. And he says, a lot of us will turn to the mountains where they can't find us, because the mountains will hide us. And that's what he says. And he goes, I want you to warn everybody about that. You know, that, like I said, this dream shook me up. I was telling my wife about it. But please share this video. You know, this is one of my strongest dreams I've ever had, you know, like crazy vision, man. Crazy. We got to be strong and be ready, you guys, for whatever's coming. Love one another. You know, like, don't fight one another, because we're going to need each other in the end. That's my story, my dream. I hope you guys share it. And, you know, it's a crazy warning. Take care.
¿Cómo mirarían ustedes tener 2 horas de haber llegado al Children's Hospital de Los Ángeles por un problemita de un dolor de pierna de su hijo, y a las 2 horas su hijo ya está inscrito como un sujeto experimental? Su hijo ese mismo día ya está seleccionado, fue admitido el 12/24 del 2019, ya está seleccionado, miren, por el investigador principal Leo Mascarenas, que ahora es director de oncología del Sinaí. Salió huyendo de forma cobarde de Children's Hospital después de todas las atrocidades que hicieron con nuestros hijos. Aquí, este mismo día, está inscrito en diferentes estudios y en el Children's Oncology Group, sin que usted lo sepa. Miren, vean aquí, la fecha de preparación de este contrato de experimentación que tiene mi hijo Snyder, que nosotros nunca lo aprobamos, tiene una fecha de preparación de enero 22 del 2016. Y ahí, miren ustedes, tiene un IRB CHL-15-00524. Ese mismo día fue inscrito mi hijo a ese estudio de investigación por el doctor Leo Mascarenas. Le formulan este contrato, que yo se los voy a ir diciendo paso por paso, lo que implica tener este contrato, que lo hacen ver tan inofensivo, donde dice que es un proyecto, donde dice que todos los niños, un registro, revisión de elegibilidad y estudio de biología, y que dice que le están invitando a participar voluntariamente. Mentiras, esto no es voluntariamente. Ese día que mi hijo llegamos al hospital, este desgraciado incluyó a mi hijo en ese estudio de investigación, le formuló un IRB con una fecha de preparación de enero 22 del 2016, y la primera vez que fuimos nosotros que se puso enfermo Snyder fue el 24 de diciembre del 2019. No se dejen engañar, padres, estén alertas, por favor. Ricardo Saldaña. Este hombre que es doctor de Children's Hospital de Los Ángeles, que nunca le miré la cara, ni fue doctor de Snyder. Escuchen bien, padres, le robó los 2 testículos de Snyder. Los 2 testículos de Snyder se los robó en un procedimiento con complicidad con los doctores, con el doctor Paul Gaynor, Oncología y Children's Hospital de Los Ángeles, y tengo la evidencia, padres. ¿Cómo me entero? En el portal del paciente, en todos los procedimientos. Este doctor le retiró para los biobancos y vendieron los testículos de mi hijo Snyder. Ya tenían la planificación de callarle la voz. Imagina un adolescente de 13 años quitarle sus 2 testículos para venderlos a los biobancos, padres. A mi hijo le hicieron un procedimiento que es una orquiotomía bilateral, padres. Le quitaron sus 2 testículos. ¿Saben con qué mentiras? El doctor Paul Guerrero nos dijo que posiblemente tenían sospecha que una célula estaba alojada en un testículo, que le tenían que hacer una biopsia. Supuestamente lo metieron y lo hicieron la biopsia y nos dijeron que estaba bien. Al mes nos vuelven a decir, eso fue en julio del 2023, al mes nos vuelven a decir otra vez que al parecer en el otro testículo tiene en octubre, padres, el 25 de octubre del 2023, este desgraciado que miran aquí, que nunca fue doctor de Snyder, que no lo conocemos, le robó los 2 testículos a mi hijo Snyder para venderlo a los biobancos. ¿Cómo lo supe, padres? Snyder no es el único que le han robado sus órganos, padres. Hay muchos niños que nos están robando los órganos y no lo sabemos cuando los meten a procedimientos. Miren, aquí están los procedimientos, miren. Exactamente, miren, las fechas y lo que le hicieron a mi hijo. Una orquiotomía es una cirugía para quitar los testículos bilaterales. Ambos lados le retiraron. El 25 de octubre del 2023, Children's Hospital con ese desgraciado le quitó quirúrgicamente ambos testículos a Snyder. No era una biopsia, padre. Le robaron los testículos a mi hijo. Que todo el mundo sepa lo que esos desgraciados le están haciendo a nuestros niños. Todos latinos con discapacidades.
On May 6, 2016, an ICE agent in Manhattan shot himself with a .40 caliber and left a suicide note for Americans that should concern us all. FEMA camps are being built and finalized right now. ICE detention centers with dual use. There are classified documents that confirm this information. Watch my other video on ICE camps.
When the collapse takes place, detention camps created under the Rex 84 program in the 1980s to house illegal aliens whom we're going to deport will instead be used to imprison American citizens whom the government feels constitute a threat. Wow, that's stuff that I've actually been covering for a long time. Rex 84, the FEMA camps, that whole element, the continuity of government program. It states here that American citizens will be rounded up without warrants and imprisoned without trial for God knows how long. It states that these camps have been equipped to carry out Hitler-scale killings, an actual purge of American citizens by the very government which they themselves created and pay for. And he wrote, "I cannot be party to this." Wow, it's a very lengthy note, and I'm only reading part of it here. It goes on to say that the government knows the military will rise up to stop this, so our military is being deployed overseas and intentionally involved in foreign fights so that they cannot be here to help Americans. Certainly a frightening future painted by this suicide note, and so frightening, in fact, that this agent took it upon himself to kill himself, to relieve himself of the burden that he felt that his own job and his own participation in this program placed upon him. So, again, like I said, I've been reporting on these types of stories for a long time, and now you have a ICE agent coming out. And what's interesting too is that the suicide note was leaked. So, I mean, look, this is a very, very shocking suicide note to begin with. Now, here in New York City, and blew his brains out. Sources inside the New York City Police Department have revealed to Superstation 95 the contents of his suicide note that was found on his body, and they are frightening. The note outlines why the officer chose to shoot himself. Quote, this is the words of his note: "The America I grew up in and cherished has been murdered by its own federal government. Our Constitution has become meaningless. Our laws politicized so badly they are no longer enforced except for political purposes." The note continued, "Our elected officials are, to a person, utterly corrupt and completely devoid of any love or respect for the country which pays them. To them, everything is about getting and keeping power and making illicit money from backroom deals." Now, the 42-year-old U.S. Immigration and Customs Enforcement deportation officer shot himself with a .40 caliber service pistol inside Pier 40 on the Hudson River Park at around 11 a.m. Apparently, a source at the scene described that the officer calmly walked into the park, took out his pistol, and shot himself in the head. Now, the suicide note, the officer revealed what he claimed are terrifying plans that the feds have been finalizing. And I have actually been tracking these very plans for many years now. Made some documentary films on it as well. Quote, "If the American people knew what this government is planning, they would rise up and overthrow it. If I or anyone else in the federal government revealed what is coming, we would be killed anyway. So now I will reveal what I know. We in federal law enforcement have been drilling for several years to control riots and uprising from a coming financial collapse and widespread bank failure. The drills involve life-size images of American men, even women and children, whom we are told to shoot for practice and to get used to it. We've been told that the economy is terminally ill and we will fail in 2016. We are also told that the banks are insolvent and the FDIC doesn't have nearly enough funds to bail out depositors. We are told that these events are unavoidable, and it is imperative that the U.S. government survive when people rise up over this. When the collapse takes place, detention camps created under the Rex 84 program in the 1980s to house illegal aliens whom we're going to deport will instead be used to imprison American citizens whom the government feels constitute a threat.
Evidence that California paid individuals for the murder of California Indian peoples.
Mariposa Battalion, 1851, between 73 and 93 Indians killed for $259,372.
Second El Dorado Expedition, 1851. In Nissan Territory, 21 Indians killed for $199,784. Siskiyou Volunteer Rangers.
Shasta Expedition.
Klamath and Humboldt Expedition.
Modoc
In
Expedition.
Modoc River Valley.
California state-sponsored genocide against Native people facilitated the direct decimation of the California Indian population.
I'm sorry on behalf of the state of California for the violence, maltreatment, neglect, murder inflicted on the tribes. It's called a genocide. That's what it was, a genocide.
Buying incinerators. ICE is buying incinerators, and now we have proof. A Navy contract was just released showing the Navy is managing the construction of a massive network of immigration detention centers across the nation. And what's included in the contract is extremely disturbing. It describes tent cities that can hold 10,000 people each with a specific provision for biohazard incinerators under the medical and death section. That means they are specifically planning for death and choosing to burn the evidence right there on site. The reason DHS is paying the Navy $55 billion for this is so they can get this nationwide network of giant detention centers with infrastructure for handling death built as quickly as possible. And they tried to do it quietly by updating the Navy's existing contract to make this deal instead of creating a new contract specifically for this. Here are my sources if you want more information.